However, within the Wehrmacht, that loyalty was only enough to guarantee silence, not to act. Some of the officers at Trent Park expressed their surprise at this lack of resolve.
Most of the army knew about the 20th of July, you know?
No.
It was discussed incredibly often.
No, I don't believe that.
They even consulted the commanders of the individual armies beforehand.
The situation of the plotters in Berlin is hopeless. Later in the evening of July the 20th, Stauffenberg and 3 of his co-conspirators are executed at the Bendler block. Henning von Tresckow, long the leader of the resistance within the Wehrmacht, learns early the next morning that the coup d'etat has failed. In the papers he left behind, he wrote,
"I played for high stakes. If you lose a trick like that, you have to take the consequences."
Henning von Tresckow was no saint, but a child of his times. Above all, he wanted to serve his country, first as a supporter of Hitler, then as his bitter adversary. He was the exception among the generals. Many of them were against Hitler when defeat became inevitable, but few chose active resistance. And only a small number of individuals became conspirators on moral grounds because of the millions of murders. Men like Henning von Tresckow. When his conscience forced him to, he put his life on the line. He knew that he had at least made his mark. Karl-Heinrich von Stülpnagel is dismissed. By the time he finally, openly took the side of the assassins, accepting the risks involved, it was already too late. Beside the Maas near Verdun, Stülpnagel reaches for his service pistol. The suicide attempt fails. Stülpnagel is blinded. He's nursed back to health and is executed by hanging at Plötzensee in Berlin, like many of the other conspirators. Hitler takes bloody revenge. Almost 200 conspirators are executed, among them many officers from the 9th Potsdam Infantry Regiment. In France, Kurt Helker joins the resistance. He continues his attempts to persuade German soldiers to give up their pointless war. He survives. At the end of the war, Ludwig Baumann is in a penal battalion at the front. For decades, he's ostracized as a deserter. He still campaigns for the rehabilitation of alleged traitors. Towards the end of the war, Heinz Drossel rescues a Jewish family from certain death. The State of Israel later names him one of the righteous among the nations. After the war, he becomes a judge. The resistance to Hitler has failed, and those officers who closed their eyes to the crimes of the Nazi regime can do nothing to prevent the final defeat. But by then, the war has claimed millions more lives.